This is SSPTV News, brought to you by Samsung Productions and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
Well, it's history time again, and that means it's time for Charles McElwee to join us. He is member of the Board of Directors for the Greater Hazleton Historical Society and Museum. And this time, you have a tale of a man from our area, from Jeansville, who made history. And this is a story I never heard before.
It's a fascinating story. His name is John Donlin from Jeansville, really a leader in the community during the Civil War era. And 2 years ago, Mark Bullock, who is an editor at the New York Times, came out with a book called The Sons of Molly Maguire. And it's a history of the Molly Maguires, but he mainly focuses on the Molly Maguire activity which existed in northern Carbon County and Banks Township. But at that time, there was Jeansville, Carbon County, the Hazleton area was a hotbed for draft resistance. And it was really these Irish immigrants who opposed the draft because they would lose their jobs if they had to go and fight, and there was no guarantee that they could return. And the federal government, along with the local coal establishment, decided they needed to crack down on these miners who were working to not only resist the draft, but form unions. So we were in the embryonic stages of the labor movement. And they thought if they could break up the unions, break up fraternal organizations like the Ancient Order of Hibernians, that they can lower the price of coal and also the price of labor. And that would help the union cause. So one of the guys was John Donlin, and he was arrested and sent to prison. And I'm going to read a passage from the book that describes what his wife did while he was in prison. So among the first to be pardoned was Donlin, whose wife, according to family lore, made a personal plea to Lincoln after a remarkable trek to Washington on foot. With warring armies on either side of her, she carried their newborn baby in an old shawl, sleeping in hay ricks at night. Margaret Donlin camped out in front of the White House one morning after exhausting her pleas elsewhere and all her money on food, the story goes. At 7 a.m., after 2 days without food, she encountered the gaunt president, Abraham Lincoln, as he stepped from the executive mansion. When she told the man before her that he looked a lot like pictures she had seen of the president, he replied, "I am Mr. Lincoln." After she related her sorrowful tale, Lincoln invited her into the White House and had breakfast with her, then gave her money for a train ride home and promised to see her husband released, according to the story. And Bullock goes on to write that there is nothing in War Department documents about Margaret Donlin's remarkable odyssey, but it is a matter of record that Lincoln personally ordered her husband's release well before all others in Pardon 12 on December 30th, 1864. And that's family lore. And she would be remembered as saying he was the kindest, most wonderful man who had ever lived. And really, a fascinating story to think to walk from Jeansville to Washington, and that happened.
That's amazing. I mean, just to think about that she did it, and then that she was successful in actually getting to see the president, that's unthinkable.
Right, and a testament to Abraham Lincoln's character and why he's so celebrated to this day.
I'm surprised we haven't heard this story before, at least I haven't, so that's pretty impressive.
It is, and neither have I. So it's a book well worth reading, and you'll learn a lot about the Molly Maguire activity and as well the Civil War history in the Hazleton region during that period.
All right, another great story courtesy of our historian here, Charles McElwee, each and every week right here on SSPTV News.